I've been running my online stores for just over 5 years now and generated over $4 million in revenue over that time. So let me tell you a few things I've learned over that time. Lesson number 1 is to focus on how much customers are worth over time, not just their first purchase. What does that actually mean? If you're selling phone cases, for example, and you run paid advertising online, people come to your site, place an order and buy the phone case, it's very unlikely you'll make a lot of money this way without them coming back or you upselling them to some more expensive products. So the lesson number 1 is to actually pick the product that leans itself towards replenishment, repurchase, and so you can build a meaningful customer lifetime value going forward. So my favorite food supplements. So we have sodium butyrate here, vitamin B complex, and some IBS probiotics. These just fly off the shelves, people come back, every month or so to restock. So we only effectively pay for the customer once and put them on our email list and remind people that, you've probably run out. So you're welcome to come and buy again. And all these subsequent orders is just pure profit. So if you might be thinking of starting an online store, just think about that. Don't focus on the products that are one-off. So even things like shoes, you will wear them out and, they'll have to be replaced. So that could potentially be a good product. But stuff like, phone cases or some, fitness widgets, maybe not so much. Don't know. That's just my 2 cents. The next lesson is that your product pages matter more than your ads. There's a number of reasons for that. Obviously, when people click through to your ads and go to your page, you want as many of them to buy as possible. That's a no-brainer. It's a direct correlation with your ROAS. But in addition to that, Google will also look at how many people actually buy and calculate the quality and relevance score for your ads. So if you have a store that's just a bit shit, people won't buy, and Google will make bids more expensive for you, and you'll never be able to scale. So that's two biggest reasons to work on your product pages. If you want to know more, I made a few videos just about that, but just look for them in the back catalog. Right, lesson 3 is it's all about messaging and positioning. So you must have heard about targeting and demographics, shit like that. So it's all well and good, but it doesn't really matter that much because you should be targeting what people do, not who they are. So let's say, I'm in a mountain bikers club. We go out on rides, every weekend or whatever. But if you look at the demographics, they don't really make sense. We have young people, old people, males, females, all ages, all backgrounds, all occupations. So don't focus on 24-year-old males to 34, whatever. It's all bollocks. It doesn't matter. Just focus on, the actual passion at hand and speak to the pain that people experience within that niche so that you can help them fix that pain with your products. By the way, if any of these tips work for you, just book a free call with me and I'll see if I can help you out with your e-commerce journey. Lesson number 4 is, well, it's no surprise, iPhone's been around for almost 20 years now. But you'd be surprised that about 80% of traffic on all the stores is actually mobile phone first. So don't really worry about, making nice shiny layouts with, big images and stuff like that. Just make sure your mobile is optimized first because that's what people are actually using. Also, make sure your purchasing flow makes sense. You don't have any important buttons outside of the viewport and that your checkout, only has the minimum number of fields that you actually require to fulfill the order. So don't make people, fill in surveys and stuff like that. No. Lesson number 5, it's all about the numbers. So you have to fix your tracking before spending more on ads. Well, I say that, but in reality, it's a problem that we have companies like Triple Whale and Hyros that are supposedly doing that for us. So the whole thing is about ad attribution. So who clicked what ad where and bought what. But the reality is just so complex and complicated, it's really hard to keep track even with a software like that. So what I tend to do is to just monitor the ad spend and the new customer purchases on the other side. Do it daily and calculate your daily ROAS for new customers. Make sure you're above break even, and that's about it. Although Google will want a lot of detailed information about your customers' behavior so it can target the ads for them better. So tracking is very important, but not as important at the same time, if you see what I mean. Lesson number 6, it's all about email. If you're not using your email list effectively, you're just losing money. That's all there is to it. Once someone gives you their email address, you need to make sure, to stay in touch with them, make sure that if they've placed an order that they're happy, is there anything else that they might want, send them, promotional codes, new product launches, seasonal tips, or maybe just, happy Christmas messages. But just keep in touch with them so they don't forget about you. Although the typical open rates are within like 30-40%, it's not great, but if you do it right, the email will bring in about 40% of your sales each and every month. So it's definitely worth doing. The next lesson is really straightforward. Just choose a product that people want to buy. You will not be able to sell a shitty product with a good ad, but if you have a good product, you might get away with a shitty ad for it. Lesson number 9 is very similar to the first lesson. So you want to make sure you get the second sale from your customers, because if you don't, you'll basically work for free, and none of us likes to work for free. So all your profit would have been taken out by the ad costs, and you would have a dead customers on your books. Nobody wants that. So make sure you do everything you can to nudge people for the second order. The next lesson is very boring, but very important at the same time. Know your numbers. You need to know your unit economics. That means what's your COGS, cost of goods sold, what's the ad cost per order, what are your fulfillment costs per order, and what are all the other bullshit little costs that you have here and there, like premises, staff, PayPal fees, that's like 3%, all these little things that add up. Subscriptions, you need to make sure that you're basically operating profitably. It's the same situation as before. You don't want to work for free. And in e-commerce, it's really easy for all these overheads to add up, and for you to, basically effectively be the last person that gets paid in your business, which is a shitty position to be in. So avoid that. Know your numbers. The last lesson is mostly to do with the operations side of things. So don't try to do everything, and don't try to do everything at the same time. Batch tasks. So if you have customer service, for example, you can batch these for the morning. So when there's emails about cancellations coming in, you can cancel these orders and then send them the next hour. You don't need to reply to customers, there and then immediately, even though you might want to. No one's really expecting that, as long as, the messages are handled promptly, like, within 24 hours. People will be grateful for that, because, e-commerce never sleeps. We operate 24/7, but that's not the case for our couriers and people that are, typically working for us. So consider having a weekend shift that comes in, and packs the orders over the weekend, so your Mondays are not that hectic. Equally with stock replenishment and stock management, you need to implement processes in place so that you know where you are each and every day. Also manage cash flow each and every day. Take a note of, what's coming in, what's going out, how much cash you have on hand, and then you'll be able to make a prognosis of how much cash you need to replenish stock and fulfill all the other obligations that are your, monthly expenditure. Basically, it's a business 101, it's cash flow management, but it's really, really important that you handle this right. A bonus one, it's about the same thing, but for the tax man. Whatever you do, you will have to pay taxes. So make sure you won't shoot yourself in the foot by taking too much money out of the company or of the business. Make sure, you allocate the correct percentages to a separate savings account that's only there for your tax money. I think that's the only way to always make sure that you'll have plenty of liquidity. You will never withdraw too much, and you'll always be able to cover your obligations. It's a bit boring and shitty, but it is what it is. We can't escape taxes, and there's no worse feeling in the universe than having to find, tens of thousands of dollars for next week, for example, when the tax bill comes due. You should always be looking at your top line and estimating the tax obligations based on the top line. So don't wait for your accountant to finish the quarter or the yearly accounts. You should always know where you are with profit and the ballpark of what the taxes might be. I hope you find this video format helpful. It's really off the cuff, just, it's a stream of consciousness type thing. But if what I say makes sense to you and you want to have a chat with me, then book a call with me using the link in the description below. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.